And the merchant said, Speak to us of buying and selling. And he answered and said, To you, earth yields her fruit, and you shall not want if you do not know how to fill your hands. It is in exchanging the gifts of the earth that you shall find abundance and be satisfied. Yet, unless the exchange be in love and kindly justice, it will but lead some to greed and others to hunger. When in the marketplace, you toilers of the sea and fields and vineyards, meet the weavers and the potters and the gatherers of spices. Invoke then the master of the earth. Welcome, Zoe. Welcome, Lily, to come into your midst and sanctify the scales and the reckoning that weighs value against value, and suffer not the barren-handed to take part of your transactions, who would sell their words for your labor. To men you would say, Come with us to the field, or go with our brothers to the sea, and cast your net for the land and the sea shall be bountiful to you, even as to us. Welcome. And if there come the singers and the dancers and the flute players, buy their gifts, for they too are gatherers of fruit and frankincense, and that which they bring though fashioned of dreams is remnant for food for your soul. And before you leave the marketplace, see that no one has gone his way with empty hands, for the master spirit of the earth shall not sleep peacefully upon the wind till the needs of the least of you are satisfied. And that is from the prophet Khalil Gibran. And I inherited a copy of the prophet from my grandmother Elsie, who came to this country 100 years ago. I think she was born in 1909, and she was born in 1909, and she came, 1909 plus, and so she came on a transatlantic boat ride by herself in charge of her younger sister at 8 years old. So can you imagine being 8 years old and traveling from Sweden to New York City on a boat by yourself? Their parents came 6 months earlier. My great-grandmother, born in 1890, and her husband in like 1885. They were in an arranged marriage. It's a spam hat, man. Welcome from Texas. And they came early. They came over. They were escaping bad economic situation. They were escaping an arranged marriage. So my great-grandfather, whom I'd never met, I'd only heard about. My great-grandfather, he couldn't keep his pants up. He couldn't keep his pants zipped up, is what it was. He had 6 children with this young girl that, were they? She's like 14, I think, when they married. 14. So by the time she was 20 years old, 1890, yeah, that'd be like that, 20-some years old, she had 6 children. So you unsubbed. Oh, good. Thank you for unsubbing to my content. Yeah. Yeah. You liked it there for a minute, and now you don't like it. So anyways, I'm just talking about that. And so that, my grandmother, she gave me this book, The Prophet by Kyle Hill Gibran. This is my copy, but I have another copy that she got for me. Actually, I did not. She didn't get it for me. I inherited it. And this was a poet that she read. And I was thinking about this and how, like Scripture, this book reads. And I think that as a poetry, I think what was published in 1923. I don't remember the year that Kyle Hill Gibran lived. He lived before that, I'm sure. I was thinking today, after going to church, and it was the 75th anniversary of the church that I was born into, Emmanuel Lutheran Church, Willamina, name of the city, Willamina in Oregon. And my grandmother who came over, welcome from Indonesia. My grandmother who came over, well, she came over with a younger sister, Marie, and Marie was in on that groundbreaking of that church 75 years ago. So the family has stock in that church, and it was a nice celebration. But I was like thinking about religious scripture and how people don't like to do the work. Thank you for unsubbing. Thank you for unsubbing. Welcome. Thank you. Well, I know my content is boring, talking about church and stuff like that, but this is where my channel is going to go in the future. More talk, less art, more variety, maybe some more acting shows like I did 2 days ago. But I was thinking about these things. You unsubbing, that's fine. I do not need your support at all. You can go move on to the next place. There's plenty of other people. You can go watch their stuff that you like better. But there are people that might like my content. And so I'm for them. People out there. Welcome, Juno. Katie Holmes, welcome. Fearless, welcome. Thank you for coming into my chat. Welcome from Denmark. So Denmark, yeah, you're like, I have one first cousin left that lives in Sweden. He's 65 years old. He's very young. First cousin once removed. Lots of second cousins that I never met. And welcome, Kate Holmes. And so I was thinking about, well, at church. And I hadn't actually physically been in the church for a while. There's a lot of work. Oh, welcome thank you for unsubbing. Thank you for unsubbing. Welcome, Maria. I got all these people who are just unsubbing me. Yeah, well, you know, I do terrible content, so therefore, y'all need to go move on to the next place. You know, that was part of like one of the scriptures, you know, you just sort of, well, you know, Fearless, I make people mods who have been on my show as a guest. All my mods, for the most part, have been a guest on my show. I have actually physically talked to them face to face through my show, or I've actually had them. So you like terrible content? Okay, great. This is terrible content. It's raw. So you're not subbing. Great. Don't sub, Fearless. That's good. Don't sub. Because we're not here. I'm not. If you like my content, you can sub, but I'm not gonna make you a mod unless you want to come on my. How old are you anyway? You're probably not very old. So unless you have been a guest on my show, and we've sat down, we talked about, spirituality, or we've talked about the tarot, or we've talked about art, or you talked about something. We talked about something of interest like caregiving, something real, adult problems, as Maria has said. Adult stuff. Adult stuff. And so I'm talking about some adult stuff here. Adult stuff. And that adult stuff I'm talking about is how people really don't like doing the work. And I include myself right in there. Not wanting to do the work. And I'm shouting out to Alexis Milner, who did the work in under well, thank you, George Bush. Well, there's a George Bush that is the president, which is a relative of mine. I have a relative, George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush. They're relatives, along with Franklin Delano Roosevelt are relatives of mine. They're probably like fifth or sixth cousins, maybe seventh or eighth cousins. So you're bored, and while you're bored, you've been cleaning while you feel good, and so I'm making you bored, Maria. And anyway, I'm just going to be on for a few more minutes because I'm on my way to the beach to go down to the beach again today. And for a minute, I just wanted to talk about some boring subjects like so you got your pee-pee stuck in the car door and you dropped your... Okay. All right, I am boring. All right, good. I'm boring. All right. You're gone. Bye-bye. Okay, yeah, I'm just live for a minute. And so anyways, I'm on my way to the beach. It'll be 2 hours one way to go someplace that, as the crow flies, is only 30 miles away. But adult problems, I was thinking about oh, okay. All right, Lawrence Jackson. Get your Dawn dish soap and do all that business that you want to do. You can do that on your own time, We don't need to have too much information about that. Well, I don't think that's true, but Mr. Lawrence Jackson, maybe yeah, I don't know. That's probably not my hand. I'm just gonna have a little sip of this tea here. I've had like 3 cups of espresso. But I was thinking about how hard it is to do the work to get through stuff. How often do I just ask the same questions, pull the same tarot cards, and keep going on with my days? Open up the book, look at a poem, look at some scriptures. You look for affirmations, but sometimes those affirmations takes a little bit of work to get through. I'm doing fine, Maria. I'm doing good. I had some bad asthma yesterday, and I had a hard time doing anything, but I did make it. I did make it physically into church yesterday. Got there. I was 10 minutes late, but I was able to log in on Zoom and 5G, the church service, until we got in there, and which was kind of nice. Well, I am. I'm a. I would call myself a. I call myself a Christian mystic. A Christian mystic, or just a mystic, a person who has. Um, I am. I grew up in the church. I was baptized in a Lutheran church, confirmed in a Lutheran church, and then in my late 20s, I became a Catholic, and now I just am who I am. I am who I am. I enjoy the fellowship of church. Welcome, Emily. I don't know if what the church teaches is absolutely true. I do believe that Thomas Jefferson was on to something. I think Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers of the United States, was a Renaissance thinker. He was a Renaissance thinker. Part of that, 1700s, the Renaissance was in the 1500s. He was still a Renaissance thinker. And Thomas Jefferson went through the Bible and cut everything out except for the teachings of Jesus. He cut the virgin birth out. He cut the death. He cut the resurrection out. He cut the appearances out. He cut the entire section of Paul out. All of the book of Revelations, everything out. Everything out except for what Jesus taught. Except for what Jesus taught. And the personal revelations that I have gotten are that, and this is the part. Why do that? My hair is I wear a hat because I'm going bald. The personal revelations that I have gotten, that doesn't mean that I'm right. It doesn't mean that at all. Is that we are to be Jesus's teachings and not worship Jesus. It's not about worshiping Jesus. As far as, let's say, you are to center your life around these things, but being Jesus' teaching does not necessarily mean you are a Christian, because you can be Jesus' teachings and be an atheist. Thomas Jefferson removed everything except like you go look in the red letter, except for what Jesus said, the parables and everything, and just removed the all the miracles. He took all the miracles out. He took all of the he took the virgin births out. He took all of the magic, everything that seemed magical. He took all of that stuff out. He said that is not important. That's not important. It's not important at all. And so, in Thomas Jefferson's mind, the only thing that is important, it was just the teachings. And so you took the Old Testament and threw the Old Testament out because it's not important. That history is for another people. It's not for you, and it's not for our history. It's not for us. It's a part. It's gone because that history is so far in the back, in the past, that it has gone into the realm of mythology. And if you go, let's say you look at a scholar like Richard Carrier. Richard Carrier, who's done the scholarship, he's done the work. And the movement you can't necessarily what exists in the biblical histories, it has been repeated throughout time. It's not the first iteration of it. That whole system has been repeated, and it was more of a later one. Then you can look at it if you want to look at the scholarship and the history of religion and those things. And so in that sense, you look at that. That's just it's mythology. Now mythology is good because you can look at Joseph Campbell, The Power of Myth, and myth can following a mythology can transform your life. It can transform your life. So Thomas Jefferson took everything out, everything except just the core teachings. And then you have Henry David Thoreau, 1840s. He wrote the book Walden Pond. He also was a Renaissance thinker. He was in that time period, like 200 years ago, a Renaissance thinker. And his words were that every generation should be writing their own scriptures because there is continual revelation going on in our world. Revelation is not just this thing that happened once and it doesn't happen again. Revelation happens continually. And sometimes, of course, when revelation happens continually, you and people are writing their own scriptures. Sometimes, welcome Tapestry of the Unseen. My little dog Pee-wee is getting old. That's right. You don't have to believe in the Bible, Maria. That's right. You don't have to because it doesn't necessarily apply to you. It doesn't necessarily apply to you. Some of the things do. It applies differently. I'm thinking what I want to do as I go forward on this channel and go forward into the realm of more talk, like talk radio. I'm hoping that I can do a call-in show. I don't know how much more art I'm going to do. I'm getting really tired and burned out on doing art on this channel. I probably will occasionally do some art and so forth. But I want to do more talk. Have more guests on. I want Lila to come back on. We can just talk. Talk about stuff. Talk about fun things. I also want to actually bring artists on. Yeah, a talk show, and I gotta clean up my space, and yeah, well, you don't have to believe in the Bible. I just refer to it. I just did a reading a poem from starting out from Khalil Gibran, from Khalil, in because one of my ancestors has gave me, well, didn't give me, I inherited it came from my aunt, and my aunt gave it to me, and it was a very little small it was her book, Khalil Gibran, the Prophet. This is my own. I bought this like 30 years ago. And anyways, it reads just like scripture. One of my favorite poets, Kabir, his poems read just like scripture. And scripture was written by, yeah, well, we'll do that in September. Lila, in September, I kind of like 2 weeks ago, I hit a wall. I hit a wall with my energy levels 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and so it's just like I just came to a stop. I was like, I guess I had my tower moment. It was a tower, because like the other night, I think Maria was there in my live, and in my live stream that I did Saturday night for I was on for 4.5 hours. Thank you for unsubbing. Welcome. Divided Walls. Yeah, good. Thank you for unsubbing. You probably subbed the other day when I did put my wig on and I did stuff. Anyways, when I did it, and so I'm kind of in a, that was kind of the word. So I've hit a wall. So I'm like in the I'm kind of going through a tower experience, and I've been, I also, like in August I do reflect on, because I'm going into the fourth year of this show, the 999 show. I'm sitting at constant 2,500 hours of watch time, and I haven't been able to move beyond that. And shout out to Lexis Milner, for hitting her 3,000 watch hours. Getting the super chat, the memberships, and all those other things. And so what I need somehow I need to put some money into my yeah, they are hard. Watch hours are hard. And because they're calculated on a 365-day period, and each day I lose the hours that I earned 1 year ago yesterday. Every day I do, and so I lose that going each day going forward. And anyways, um, so yeah, I want to talk about stuff more talk, and actually that I'm slowly getting into what the original vision of this channel was to be talk show, UFOs, but I also want to bring on artists, and I do have an artist that I'm going to bring on, somebody I know personally, and there's maybe some poets as well, just to interview and talk to, and so forth. Yeah, engagement is hard. It's hard getting the engagement, and so forth. And Roast Mega, welcome. And yeah, so just more of that. I probably, yeah, and then if I can figure out how to do, bring in guests via a telephone, I think that might be really interesting too. But I'm probably 6 months away from that coming into fruition. And then I also, like, Lila, I do want to try my hand at, once I feel like I get just a little bit more. Yeah, but see, the problem with Zoom is with Zoom, you can't do a 4K upload. So if you're doing like a canned interview, like on Zoom or something like that, I don't. You can't do a 4K upload. You can get like 720p and so forth. I think that's like the maximum that you can get. And yeah, yeah, that's what I have. I'm gonna go with some form of streaming software, like maybe Streamlab or StreamYard, something that I can stream on a mobile device. But I also want to be able to. What other thing I want to go is I might open up trying to stream on other platforms too. Well, yeah, that's right. The internet. In my internet, um, my upload speed is 7. It's 7 megabits per second, and then sometimes after that earthquake, it dropped down to like 2, and sometimes it's like 2, and so you can't even do a 720 stream because your my internet speed is too low, and that's also a problem. So I need, like, to do a 4K stream, you need to have a minimum upload stream of like 25 megabits per second, and you can't do it with 10. You can do 1080p with 10 barely. Yeah, they have, but what I want to be able to do is I only want to be able to live stream out on one channel, and then and not live stream out on 4 different channels at the same, do 4 channels at the same time. That's kind of where what I'd like to do. And see, with Substack, Substack is kind of like Twitch, where you have a hard time getting an audience, and so I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna go to the beach. I need to have my breakfast, and then we're gonna go. So I can do restream, yeah. Well, maybe Tapestry, we could have a conversation. If you want to have a conversation that's non-live sometime. You never heard of any of this? Yeah. Well, see that I looked up Restream, and Restream doesn't really, and like you have to pay like $60 a month. I know you have to pay a huge amount of money per month in order to do it, even like a 1080p live stream. But yeah, so I don't know. Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the. I'm gonna have my waffles. Cook up a couple. You've been living. Yeah. So it's really well. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it is kind of expensive, and so I just like. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I've gotta. I do need to bring an income stream in. So what I do need, Tapestry, is some more self confidence. So and self confidence, so I can see about applying for one of those psychic phone line jobs. Remo T999, welcome. Yeah. Anyway, That's all I got. I was actually only going to come on for like 15 minutes. But let's go read another poem from Khalil Gibran. I'm from Oregon. One of the things I wanted to talk about just for a second was how, I don't know, I was like at the Lutheran church, and there were some other pastors that were there because it was a 75-year anniversary of that church we grew up in, and I was looking at just how kind those people look. When you for the churches that are in the middle of the road, yeah. While you're taking a break, yeah. I'm gonna read one more of these Khalil Gibran poems, and I'll just close it out. Let's just turn it around. I'll turn it around to the page. That's the page. That's what it looks like. I'll come back and read it here. There's only so much poem of other people's books you can read before you get in trouble. In the depth of your hopes and desires lies your silent knowledge of the beyond. And like seeds dreaming beneath the snow, your heart dreams of spring. Trust the dreams, for in them is hidden the gate to eternity. Your fear of death is but the trembling of the shepherd when he stands before when he stands before the king whose hand is to be laid upon him in honor. Is the shepherd not joyful with his trembling, that he shall wear the mark of the king? Yet is he not more mindful of his trembling? I mean, it just reads just like scripture. Reads like scripture, Khalil Gibran. If you've never read Khalil Gibran, I think he's a Persian poet. Persia, before the dark side took it over. I don't know. Anyways, that's all I got for you. I'm going to try to do a 5G live stream when I'm down in Newport. But it doesn't work very well when you're really, really close to the ocean. So maybe we'll just do some non-live streamed pictures, and then I'll edit those videos up and show them. And all right, that's all I got for you. We'll see you the next time. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Parvna. Thank you, Tapestry. Thank you, Remo. Thank you, Baja Shah. Thank you, Roast Mega. Thank you, Mo Edits. Thank you, Kevin Ballstall. Thank you, Divided Walls, even though you were and all the trolls. Thank you, all the trolls that came in. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Lily Zoa. Thank you, Ima. Thank you, Lexapol. Thank you, Christian Greger. Thank you, Nira Purin. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, even the person I timed out for 24 hours. Thank you, George Bush. Thank you, Elijah Ward. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Just Roy. Thank you, Star Queen. Thank you, Divided Walls. Thank you, all the. I'm old man. Yeah, let's go. Thank you, Squared King, Katie Holmes, and everyone else who popped in for just a minute and popped right back out. Thank you very much, and we'll see all y'all the next time. Bye-bye.